Hey, my sisters, how many people you taking care of? We black, you know we taking care of somebody. Your kids, somebody else's kids, nieces, nephews, baby's kids. Your grandchildren, your grandchildren's grandchildren. So that's what inspired this conversation I'm having with René Brooks. You know René, Black Girl Lost Keys. René is joining for a conversation about the ADHD caregiver. So let's talk about how we can avoid caregiver.
Okay, Stace, sorry for the delay. I am ready. Bear with me just a second. I got a little one with me. What you need, girlie? That's Kira's bottle. It's Kira's. Go give it to Kira.
What's happening over there? Who's in your house right now?
Everybody's at my house right now. My niece is here. My mom is here. My other niece is here. The dogs are here. Everybody's here. You know how everybody has the house where they gather? My house is the house where everybody gathers.
I'm going to use that as a segue. So many of us women with ADHD are caregivers. It is a big enough of a job just taking care of ourselves. And, by the skin of our teeth, we do it. But when you add the responsibility of someone else, a human or even pets, that can, for me at least, amplify our biggest challenges in the symptoms that we live with ADHD.
Your watermelon cup is in the kitchen. Mom, I'm recording. Can you please handle Tay? I'm sorry.
In your coaching, do you have clients who this is a concern for them, being a caretaker and trying to balance those responsibilities?
You know who I especially see it with? It's always women, because we always are under the impression that we're supposed to do those things well. We're supposed to be the people who care for our parents. We're supposed to be the main caregivers for our kids. We're supposed to supervise the household. And that can cause people to push so far beyond their limits. And because so many of us are diagnosed later in life, we don't know where the limit is. So we're trying to be everything that we think we're supposed to be. And we're still trying to discover our limits, and we're still trying to discover our coping skills. So it can get to the point where you feel like you're running from one crisis to the next.
You've had to see about some family members who have been having some health issues.
January, my mother was diagnosed with multiple myeloma. It's cancer of the bone marrow. And then February, my grandmother had a hemorrhagic stroke. And then March, my brother died. My mom was hospitalized the week of my brother's viewing. So it really was me as far as who needed to organize things. A lot of times when you're in those emergency kind of situations, your adrenaline's pumping. And that is what makes ADHD people, a lot of us come alive in the course of that emergency situation, which is good. But the flip side of that is you're losing things to that crisis. So you're losing your emotional bandwidth. You're losing your time. God, all your time.
Yes.
And you're losing your energy. So you're expecting to be able to come home and do everything that you do because you're at home. You have to prioritize rest. When you're talking about caretaking and having to be responsible for things, we think even in a crisis, we're supposed to have it together. Like the last few weeks, my grandmother's in a hospital. That hospital's an hour away. I'm running that very hectic work schedule, and then I've got caretaking to do. Something has to give, and that something is the way that this house looks.
I found myself, and just for a very short period of time, being my mother's caretaker. A few weeks ago, she's got dementia, and it was rapidly onset. And my sister has been her primary caretaker. And my sister works from home, and she has children and a husband and a household to keep. So my sister was just all consumed with caring for my mother, but I didn't know to what extent until she literally handed me the reins. Like the second I walked in the door coming from the airport, I barely had a chance to drop my bags before she was like, out. And I was
She said, "Oh, thank God you here. Bye."
Yes. And so I didn't know what I was getting into. It was so overwhelming, René. And I'm not saying that, my story is so special because my sister had been going through this for over a year.
It is special because it's your story and it's your first experience with caretaking. It's shocking.
It It is. It threw me off balance seeing my mother like that. Renee, I had no idea, because the last time I saw my mother, she could still walk well. She could still dress herself. She could still hold a lucid conversation. All of that is gone now. But there are some very important things one needs to be able to not only take care of yourself, but to be able to take care of others, like prioritize tasks.
Yes.
Like, complete tasks, like remember stuff, get up on time, go to bed on time.
And when you're caretaking, you need to be in top form. And it's easy to lose track of maintaining your meds in the course of maintaining everything. Like, girl, listen. It's not like, I know sometimes we feel like I just didn't prioritize my time.
Yeah.
I think when you're caretaking, it's not a matter of prioritization at that point. It's about
maybe self-preservation.
It is. It's like you have many equally important things. And sometimes you're presented with, I need to throw one of these things to the wayside because I can't do all of these. Now, which one is it going to be? And if you're a person, especially like people like us, we're nurturing, we're caring. We tend to really get into the people around us. So who gets thrown? It's almost always going to be us.
Yes.
And it can't always be us. Like, I can't be out of my medicine. I have to prioritize going to get it. And I had to really have how we do. We have to have like a come to Jesus meeting with ourselves. Like, okay, get yourself aligned. You have to have what you need, or you're of no use to anyone. It's like people with ADHD, we're used to being the person who like people tend to like shy away from depending on because they don't think that we're dependable. So when we're in that seat of being dependable, we're just like, I really like, this is my shot. I need to prove it to everyone.
That's funny you should say that, because I felt that way with my sister. She has been very particular about the way she cares for her mother. I didn't know this until she showed me the routine. When I realized how much help she actually needs, I'm like, I'm not going to let her down. I really wanted to okay, I got to get this right. So I don't make my sister mad. So I don't upset her. So I don't put
so she knows I care. I don't want her to think that I'm just throwing her to the wolves. And oh my God, like, honey, we do it, don't we? We put so much on not making a mistake, and we're going to make a mistake. It's like, if we could just come to peace with the fact that we're going to make a mistake. Dude, it's like, I just want you guys to realize that I care and I'm dependable. And that these things that you see me doing these things and you think it adds up to me not caring. And actually, I probably care way more than what you think. Like,
it's like when we know ourselves, we know I'm going to make a mistake. But it's like, if the people around you don't understand what you're going through or what your challenges are, you want them to understand too. And if they don't, or if you haven't told them, these are my challenges, or this is what I need to be able to function well, then they're just mad at you. And now you're like, shit, they're mad at me, Girl,
I feel like this is a whole series.
It is a whole series. It's very hard to... What, which part?
Look, I'm sitting here. Look, don't listen to me. I'm not on my damn medicine. Like, I'm sitting here like, did you just say that you need to do a whole series on caretaking? Sis, when? With what time? With what? Like, Stacy ain't got no time and you don't need to go sit down. You're both caretaking. Like, think about it. Advocacy work is also a form of caretaking.
It is.
You've got these people that you're nurturing and educating and you want to help, and they send you requests and you want to do everything because you care so much. Yes. And sometimes we care about everything and we're able to do nothing because we've overcommitted. Like, you don't get a chance to breathe, and that leads to caretaker burnout, which is very dangerous.
So I noticed when I was taking care of my mother, I felt like I was drowning. Yeah. Just for those few days, because this is what I experienced. And I don't mean to make everything about me, but it's my channel.
Right. I'm like, this is your show. This is Stacy's show.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure what I'm experiencing is common. So
I agree. I haven't heard anything that made me go, Stacy's tripping. You really think it worked like that? Ooh.
in trying to meet her needs, like even the most immediate things. Can you give me some water? Can you make her breakfast, change her diaper, and help her to the bathroom? It would be like, before I could get her water, she's asking for something else, and then it's like, okay, let me drop that and go do this. Now she needs something else. Now she needs to go to the bathroom. Okay, let me put that down again. So I found myself always chasing my tail, never really finishing one task before moving to the next. I felt like I was failing a lot of the time, because it was challenging all of my challenges.
When you love somebody, you never feel like you're doing enough for them. We always talk about how we our perception can be off, right? So it's like, if your perception can be off about certain things, then it can also be off about how well you're doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if you feel like you're doing really, really bad and things are still like mostly together, like maybe like re-examine that and think about, like, are your expectations here realistic?
Yeah.
With the house being messed up, I am running, like, it's an hour to that hospital, it's an hour back. I'm there, if not every day, every other day. Yeah. I'm running a business full time. I'm doing, all the other things that I normally have to do. Do I really expect to have a house this clean on top of that?
Yeah.
And if I do, why?
Yeah.
With what time? If you want a clean house, somebody besides you is going to have to clean it at this point. Are you hiring somebody? If you're not, then just saddle up and be ready to have a messy house for a little while, because you are one person.
So it's very hard to even get to that point of recognizing that. Like, how would you suggest someone create that awareness?
Like, I think it's just part of the process as we're getting to know ourselves and how ADHD affects our lives. We do learn those parameters, but I think the main thing is, like, what's important to you. Like, I wrote a book about house cleaning with ADHD, and the thing that I told people to prioritize was making sure the house is safe. So there's nothing big that you can trip over. There's no scissors sticking out of your couch. There's no, blow dry. You know what I mean? Like, don't leave the blow dryer plugged in and sitting on the edge of the bathtub. Like, make sure it's safe. Make sure it's sanitary. So, as long as it's safe and sanitary, if the shit is cluttered, who gives a shit? Who cares? Yeah. Who cares? Like, if it bothers you, it bothers you. Do the best you can. But as long as it's safe, sanitary, and you can find what you need, even if you got to sort through a damn pile to get to it, if you can find it, call it good enough. And anything on top of that is bonus. You got to give yourself grace. And it's hard to give ourselves grace because all that criticism that comes flying at us becomes our internal voice. We've got to learn to counter that. I am doing the best I can.
And that's probably the biggest takeaway, is that we all, ADHD or not, are all doing the best we can, I hope, with what we know and what we have,
Listen, with the guilty consciences we feel, if we were the kind of people who shirk duty, we wouldn't feel bad. So if you feel bad, that'll let you know you're not just a slacker. Slackers don't feel bad when they slack. They too busy slacking. That's what they wanted to do. That was their goal. The overwhelming majority of us have depression or anxiety or something else that comes along with it that does qualify as a mental health condition, and the ADHD tends to aggravate it.
I feel like, and what's your thoughts on this, that ADHD should be part of the conversation of mental health awareness, whether
Absolutely.
Whether it's a mental illness or not. I don't think it's a mental illness, but I think it is a mental health condition. Because we all have mental health, whether you're on the good side of it or the raggedy side of it.
And think about it, like, there's a reason why so many people, especially women, come to the conversation initially. What are they treating you for? They're not looking at you and going, we think you have ADHD. What do they think you have? Depression.
Bipolar disorder, because that's what I got misdiagnosed with.
So how is that not a mental health? Like, that's a mental health concern, no matter what, because if you're being misdiagnosed, you're usually being misdiagnosed with a mental health condition.
Well, having said that, any parting words, René, for my huge audience of like 5?
She got more than 5 people watching this video. She played too much. You are doing wonderful. And look at her shirt. Look at her shirt.
Oh,
Isn't it great?
this whole thing? This whole thing?
I only wear this when I don't care how I look.
Were you asking me about what this means right here? Were you?
Yes, I was. I was actually. Yes, I was.
This is actually an African hieroglyph. It translates into transformation. And when I saw that, I'm like, that is perfect, because having knowledge of your condition and being able to treat it is transformative. And that's why, and that's why I created ADHD is the New Black, this channel, because I hope to help women experience a positive transformation just by having knowledge of what ADHD is and what your strengths are, and not dwelling on negative. So there you go. Thank you for asking.
Come on with it. That's beautiful. Y'all better go to the shop, get a shirt. That shirt is beautiful. I love it. I'm ordering one in case you couldn't tell people. Look, you're going to see me running around in my ADHD is a New Black shirt.
So funny. All right. Well, René Brooks, Black girl, lost keys. Have you found your keys, by the way?
They're right there on the other side of the laptop.
Okay. Awesome. René, thank you so much for being my guest on ADHD is the New Black.
My pleasure.
You are my sister. You and Adhd and other women in the ADHD community. You guys have really been wonderful mentors, and you've become a part of the process. So thank you guys.
We love you. You are a star.